Sound Healing Sundays. In my Healing Not Healed video, I talked about survivor's guilt a little bit, and I'm going to expand a little bit more on that in next week with the scarcity mindset. And I was just thinking about some of the limitations that we place on ourselves, depending upon what your background and your past experiences are, how they influence and impact, some of the way we see ourselves, and how we create limitations on ourselves and and the possibilities of the things that we're capable of. And that could be within our careers, that could be within relationships, that could be within our creativity, just personal goals, just personal aspirations and passions, things that we've um, maybe been told or socialized to think that we couldn't, or we weren't capable, or it wasn't profitable, or it didn't make sense. Um, whatever the goal, whatever the attainment is, right? Sometimes we place limitations on ourselves, and sometimes we have this tiny voice that just followed us, due to projections of people telling us that we shouldn't or couldn't do something. And so I just think about just personal limitations, and maybe, when we talk about imposter syndrome, some of the space that you don't take up. How often you know the answer, but you don't raise your hand, or you don't say anything, or you hear someone say something or do something incorrectly, but you don't correct them because you don't want to come off as arrogant or that you know it all. And that stuff can become annoying, right? But just thinking about how many times you don't take up space, you don't show your talent, or you don't really express yourself because you're limited on where the possibility of that could go, right? And you really don't think it's worth you really showing how big your wings can really expand. And so just think personally, reflect on, some limitations that you have for yourself. What are some of those limitations? What are some of those maybe cognitive distortions or negative thinking patterns that you may have surrounding that limitation? And what can you replace it with something that's more positive, more grounded, more maybe realistic, more logical, maybe even if it's a neutral, right? Just being more realistic and open-minded and open-hearted about what the possibilities could be. So if you want to take a minute to grab your journal, again, I like to visualize things. I'm very much a visual person. And so I think about, I'll put the limitation on like a brick, right? And I just think about me physically removing brick by brick, because I know it's not easy to kind of like retrain. I tell people all the time, I tell my clients, you are reparenting yourself in a lot of ways. And so it isn't going to happen all at once. You're remodeling a house. And so I think visually, what are those limitations? I think of it brick by brick. What are you removing? And what would you like to put in its place? Something more logical. And again, like I said, something more supportive to your heart and to your mind. So go ahead and take about 5 minutes to go ahead and journal, and then we'll get into our sound bath meditation. Again, identify at least 3. Give me at least 3 limitations that you have placed on yourself. A negative belief, a cognitive distortion, something that you've told yourself repeatedly. And then what can you replace it with? What is a thought that you can replace it with that's more grounded, more positive? So a quote jumped out to me while I was journaling, and I'll share that at least. The life lesson is in the work that you put in. The life lesson is in the work that you put in. And, I have to read the next sentence for it to make sense. It would only take away the glory if someone gave it to you. And so I think about you know, as stressed out as it can, as stressful as it can get, as overwhelming as it can get, as alone that it can feel sometimes, the life lesson is in the work that I put in accomplishing the goal that I want to accomplish. And so whatever that limiting belief is, removing it out the way, I'm so much greater than that barrier, that the goal, the purpose, the mission is bigger than that barrier. And so um, my life lesson is figuring that out in the way that it's supposed to unfold. And you know, what fun would life be if you knew all the answers, right? So just remembering what the goal is, that you don't necessarily have to know every step of the way. You don't have to know um, everything that's going to happen. Just know that the goal is bigger than what you can see. And so everything will just work out in the way that it's supposed to. Have faith in that. Learn the lessons along the way. All right. So if you want to go ahead and get comfortable, you can lay down on your mat. You can stay seated, sit comfortably with your hands on your thighs, feet on the floor. Or again, like I said, you can lay down flat, close your eyes, and get comfortable. right, my healing fam, if you want to gently get a good stretch, go ahead and wiggle your toes. Go ahead and move your legs around. Get a good stretch in your arms. Slowly open your eyes. You can get up when you're ready. I appreciate you again for joining me here this Sunday. Again, I'm here every Sunday for Sound Healing Sundays, 8 p.m. for live. If you like, share, subscribe, you can also see my Healing Not Healed videos and other fitness things. I'm all involved in holistic wellness, so you can see all the things. So go ahead and subscribe. You can go ahead and follow me on Instagram as well at Healing Crown Counseling. So again, thank you for joining me this Sunday. I'm here every Sunday. The light that is within me sees the light that is within you. Namaste. Have a good night.